Hey, what's up guys? John from S&S Cycle here. In today's video, we're going to be showing you how to install the S&S replacement brake pedal kit for M8 Softail models. You may ask yourself, why would you need a replacement brake pedal? Well, the S&S SuperStreet 2-in-1 exhaust system will need this brake pedal to be ran on your bike. For our video, we're going to be using our Fat Bob, which we've converted from forward controls to mid controls. And as you can see, we've already disassembled the stock exhaust and brake controls per the factory manual. Now we're ready to get started on installing the new brake pedal. Let's get started. For the first step in our installation, we're going to be installing the S&S replacement bell crank. This bell crank will go on to the factory location onto the mounting area, same as the stock bell crank. If you notice, there's really only one way to put this bell crank on, as this lines up with the hole for your master cylinder, the pin that will go in the master cylinder. If you put it on in reverse, as you can see, it does not line up. Easy way to tell, flat side in towards the frame. Now that we've got that on there, we'll be using our stock hardware, adding some blue Loctite and mounting this back on. Now that we've gotten it snug, we're going to go ahead and torque it down to 100 inch-pounds of torque. After you've torqued down the bell crank, you just want to double check and make sure it moves freely before moving on to the next step. And we are good to go. Now that we've torqued down the bell crank, we're ready to insert the pin back into the master cylinder, into the top hole. Now that we've gotten the pin in, we're going to go ahead and put our clip onto the back of the pin so it stays secure. Next step is to put the 2-in-1 exhaust system on. Now that we've installed our 2-in-1 exhaust system, we're ready to move on to our replacement brake pedal. Before we do that, if you need help installing one of these SuperStreet 2-in-1 exhaust systems, please check the S&S Cycle YouTube page for a how-to install video. Now we're ready to install the stock brake pedal push rod onto the replacement brake pedal. Using the factory bolt and the factory push rod, we're going to apply some blue Loctite to the bolt and mount it in. Once we have it snug, we're going to go ahead and torque it down to 15 foot-pounds of torque. Now we're ready to reinstall our foot peg bracket back into the stock location. Within the S&S brake pedal replacement kit, you will receive 2 spacers that will go behind the foot peg bracket. You will also receive 2 bolts. Go ahead and insert the bolt, put some blue Loctite on it, put the spacer over the bolt, and gently thread it in to get it started. And repeat for the rear. Now that we've snugged them in, we're going to go ahead and torque them down to 35 foot-pounds of torque. Now we're ready to install the brake pedal onto the factory mount. To do so, we're going to go ahead and walk in or insert our factory brake push rod so it can go into its location up here onto the bell crank, and then gently slide on the brake pedal. onto the stock mount. Using the stock hardware, we're going to go ahead and tighten this back up. And we're going to go ahead and lock it into place by torquing it down at 100 inch-pounds of torque. You also want to make sure before you move on to the next part that everything moves nice and freely. And for our final step, we're going to go ahead and reconnect our brake push rod bolt to the bell crank, the new S&S bell crank. And we're going to go ahead and torque it down to 15 foot-pounds of torque. And there you have it. That's how you install the replacement brake pedal kit for your M8 Softail models. If you like this video, make sure to give us a like and a follow. Always check out our social media channels. And for more information, check out sscycle.com.